How we doing? Jeez, man. You guys are all back, huh? Yeah. How about that? Well, right to London. Yeah, Tom's a great coach. We had great years together. I have tremendous respect for him. We love working together. They're getting a real ball coach, and he'll be a big part of. I'm sure that their start there. As far as playing him in London, uh, I don't know if Tom's ever been there. I haven't been there, so it'll be a new experience for both of us. Uh, I wanted to make sure and challenge the opportunity to get better. I wanted to find ways to make, and there's some tough decisions here to get that done, but I wanted to just work at changing just kind of an approach to it, so that we can find our ways into maybe some newness that we could uncover. And it was difficult to make those choices because of guys that left. We had done so much together and had so much fun and worked together in great fashion. But I just felt like it was time. And it really comes back to competing and trying to find a way to get a little bit better. And that's why we made those choices. And I'm really excited about the guys that are here and how it's working out so far, and seeing the new energy. I'm energized by it. The whole group is, and we look forward to what's going to turn out. Really great diversity in his background. Really bright, smart dude that's been around, done a lot of stuff, been in a bunch of schemes. Was really impressed with just his overall command, his ability to see things, I think, from different perspectives, which will be really exciting for us, and to bring to really Russ's development. I think it's going to be really good.
Coach, with all the staff changes and some potential big personnel moves coming, I know you can't really speak to them yet. Do you view that this could be kind of a franchise off-season for you guys?
I'm looking at it in that regard, but I did that same thing last year too. So I think the opportunity for it to be an altering moment for us is there. But every offseason we approach in the same way, to compete as hard as we can, to figure out the best ways to put our guys in the right positions, to do the right things, to make the right choices, to stay abreast of what's going on in the league. And sometimes you got to make some tough calls to get that done and to put it in the right order. I really feel confident that we've done that, but there's a lot of work to be done here, and a lot of stuff we've got to get done before we'll figure all that out.
How important is it to maintain the identity that you've built so successfully in the past handful of years?
Well, I don't know how important it is. I don't know any other way to do that. We're going to do that for sure. We're not going to change the approach that we have to the game in general. But I think we can see things differently and see things uniquely for us, and hopefully that will give us an opportunity to do some things. Maybe the results may come out a little bit different, And I don't think I never wanted to stay the same. I've never felt like that. I felt every year is a dynamic opportunity to do things in a new way, in a better way, and I always approach every aspect of all the things we're doing with that thought. So this is maybe, it seems like it's a little more extreme because there's been some more other changes that haven't happened in the past. But every year is loaded with changes, and we're forced to adapt and see if we're getting better, if we're not. And that being at hand, maybe more obviously right now, is really exciting, and I'm fired up about it. It's just time to make a change. That's all. He's a terrific coach, and Dallas got a great guy in him. The opportunity to get Kenny back in the program, just a remarkable individual, and energy and juice and leadership that he brings. It's a rare opportunity. Well, we were really excited about Chris. He didn't do anything we weren't excited about. Style of running, nature, tough, physical, explosive, great catcher, and a very, very well advanced blocker for a first-year guy in the league. We just loved everything he did. So I'm really excited to get him back into it. We'll come back now with all of our guys healthy. Which it was such really the last 2 years have been very difficult at the running back spot, just keeping guys healthy. Now they're all ready to roll. We get back to camp. It'll be great to see the battle that'll take place. And Chris has got a place in there. He's really shown us a lot of good things. So we'll see. And he'll be a year older, more experienced, and all that from this first go around. I can only hope that that's going to be even more exciting. Yeah, so far he's not doing a great job going with the pitches away from him, and so we're hoping that he's going to start putting the ball in the right field a little bit more, and going with the pitch. But aside from that, curveball's still giving him a problem like it always did, back in the day. So we'll see what happens.
What was your experience?
I think it's awesome. Yeah, I think it's. I mean, he's going to be working out, doing something anyway, and he is reports in impeccable condition. He's extraordinarily dedicated to doing everything he can to be right. I don't think that at this early stage right now, they're not in the program here. There's a lot of free time. The guys have to do the things that they get a chance to do. Some guys are maybe traveling around the world. He's playing baseball and playing ball, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. The focus that it takes to play at this level of whether it's baseball or basketball or football, to compete at that level and the mentality that you have to be at, I think is only enriching. And so I got no problem with it.
What was your experience working with Mike Peck, and what do you think the factors of getting the new defensive coordinator?
Oh, I don't know Mike real well. Don't know him on the field and all that, but he's been a very hard-nosed, tough coach in years past. His perspective about ball, very good fundamental guy. I think I can't tell you what it would be like to work with him because we just did some communicating back and forth. But he's very well grounded in really good fundamentals, and I love that about him. Yeah, we certainly did some good things. They had a great finish to the season. He obviously added a spark to him. Even in our game, unfortunately, he had to throw a touchdown past the last play of the game or whatever it was, so he got a little juice. But I think it's a great get for them, and it's a really good move it's going to be good for the division for sure. It's going to make it more challenging, and they certainly had a feel for what he could do late in the year, so it's good for them.
Mike Solari is your offensive line coach.
Mike Solari?
Yeah.
Mike Solari, yeah. What your question is?
Confusing Brian Steinheimer.
I know. I was just helping you out, dude. I caught that. So Mike Schottenheimer is. Let me start with Brian. I think we're very fortunate. I've known Brian for a lot of years and watched his coaching, watched his development, seen the variety of systems that he's been through that's made him the individual that he is. Very well-rounded, very bright, very articulate, very gifted communicator, and a dedicated quarterback guy, which was really a big deal to me. I liked the fact that I could connect the play caller and the quarterback leader and the guy who's going to be with them on the field as well on a regular basis. I wanted to make that connection for Russell so that we can communicate with him directly to in a little bit different fashion than we had. Dave Canales will work with them too, of course, but I think Brian's going to bring us something that we're looking forward to seeing. Mike Solari and I go way back to the Niner days, and so I've known Mikey a long time. He's a great football coach, very strict, very disciplined, brings a little bit different background, a little different scheme for us that gives us a chance to do a few things that we haven't done in the past, and I'm looking forward to that, a little different variety and diversity in stuff we're doing. But also brings us the wealth of experience and evaluations and stuff I'm really fired up about. So we're very lucky. And also, Brian and Mike had been together a little bit in the past. They gave them a good connection, too, and the communication, which is really important. And so it's going to be a great move for us. I'm really fired up about it. Subtly, just subtly. Yeah, nothing that drastic, but there's some subtleties in just the way we communicate what we're looking for, and but the fundamentals and the basics of it are very much the same. But there'll be some subtleties as we go along, make our decisions along the way. He did a lot of really good things. There was no question that he was competitive. He was physical. He's fast enough, tough enough, catch the ball well enough, all that stuff. So it was just a first-year experience for him going around. We got a great look at him in special teams, which really showed who he really is, his heart and his nature. He's a tough guy, really disciplined. So I really expect that he can take a big jump forward in fitting into the competitive aspect of this position. He's a little bit different than the other guys, style-wise and physically. So I'm really excited about it. But he was really on point, and he's been prepared well. You could tell coming out of college. Didn't know that. Yeah, well, what Jim has working for him is he's got this extraordinary background of being a great competitor. God, he was such a battler back in the day, and when he was playing, we really, you all remember how many years we went against him, in that division, and when they made their climb to really that great run they had there with Marv. Jim was always at the point of it, and as we've watched him and witnessed him go through the challenges of recovery and all of that and rehab and all, he's been just a stud, just like he always was. He's very fortunate that he has that makeup and that background and the great family that supports him too. So we wish him the very best. I hadn't heard that news, so, but I think that's just the next challenge for Jim, and I'm sure he's going to take it on just like he always has. 2010. Doesn't that sound like a long time ago? Jeez. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Well, that was a really valuable time. That was, 9 years or whatever it was at SC. I was really the head coach and GM and all that, and personnel director, and I got to make all those calls, and I really welcomed that. I loved doing it. It did affect me a lot. It affected me basically in the area. I mean, probably what stands out the most in terms of regarding younger players. So it did have to do with the valuations and all of that, but regarding the value of younger players and how they can contribute to your teams, I came to it from a different perspective when I came back to the league. John welcomed that, was excited about that, but it was really that you can just put them in a heap and say young guys are going to mess up and they're not going to play well, which a lot of coaches have done that over the years. Just stay away from the young guys, and we didn't do that. We went right after them, tried to figure out where they could contribute, have an idea of how to do that with not overloading them and overburdening them, and we found that we got great results. And by the time we'd get to mid-year kind of station, you could see our players, the young players, start to develop in ways that they became really kind of regular contributors and helped our depth and helped our performance in the end of the year. So all of those were really the main things that came out of that. Feeling comfortable making those choices was something not all coaches get to do. So that was valuable and all that. But fortunately, teaming up with John, it's made it. I think I've been able to help him in that regard. Mostly, probably respecting the difficulties of the process and how hard that is to do that well, and respect for that. And it's helped me support him. Yeah.
What do you think would happen if the NFL capped defensive pass interference at 50 yards? Would we see tackle law?
No, it does. It would change a little bit. It would change a little bit. But right now, guys are trying to not interfere. They're working like crazy to not interfere. That's not going to change. That part of it will be the same. There may be some grabbing now and then when you really get beat bad. At times, that you'd want to use that like we did in college. We talked about if you really beat bad, grab the guy. It's 15 yards like an out route as opposed to a deep ball. So there's some thought about that. See what happens. That's exactly where we're going to make sure we're headed. We didn't get that done like we wanted to, and there's a number of reasons why. And it's not directed at the coaches. It's not directed at any one aspect of it. We had some unfortunate situations with injuries and personnel stuff that didn't allow us to stay with the continuity that we had a couple of years before. Hopefully, we want to recapture that and regain that. So, but we're definitely excited about getting the running game rolling and make it part of the game that can really be this, a focal point for us, and because everything feeds off of that.
You brought Dwayne Brown in to now get him
I think it's a tremendous boost to us, and he did a fantastic job. Remember that he came in the second game he's in or whatever, he sprained his, had a high ankle sprain, didn't miss a trick. Lots of guys could not have gone through that like he did. He played really well under those circumstances. His leadership, his experience, his toughness, the physicality that he brings is a great boost to us coming back. When you have your left tackle and you know what you got, and you got a real deal guy right there that's been through it all, it's of great value. So he's going to affect other guys too. He's going to affect other players. He just didn't have much of a chance to do that coming in mid-season. So I think all of as we look forward, there's a bunch of positives and pluses coming out of that. We got to get Georgie back. He's having a great offseason. I see him almost every day as he runs through the building, working out and doing his stuff. He's really excited about it. We'll see how far he can take it, and George was just on the rise and just coming. He had a tremendous start to last season, and we were really excited about him. We'll just see where that fits together. I can't tell you right now.
Is there anything that
We're wide open to all the stuff that's going on, but that's not specifically, no.
Is there anything new on Cam Chancellor at the
No, nothing new. These guys are still in process, and we're waiting, for the word when they have their kind of stations along the way that they check in with their docs and all that. Really holding out hope that things work out.
Are you planning that you won't have them?
No, not planning that.
Earl's been pretty vocal about wanting new contracts. What is his status?
Well, see, last year at this time he retired, so I'm not sure where to put that right now. So I don't know. Earl and I have talked about some stuff that specifically was not very much on the top of our discussion. He's a great competitor. He wants to take it as far as he can, and I admire the heck out of him. They're talking. Everybody's talking to everybody right now.
What are the challenges of building an offense around a mobile quarterback?
What are the challenges of building an offense around it?
There seems to be, like, some hesitation in taking it after the quarterback at the position of year four. What are the challenges of having a guy like that?
I think it does have to do with the coach's background and how much appreciation they have for that style of play. Do they have any experience with it? And guys that haven't had those guys they would be more reluctant, maybe more hesitant. They also may be more excited to finally get that element in their game. So it just depends on the individual coaches, I think. But you just have to embrace, the dynamic of that player and what he can do, what he's capable of doing, and figure it out. So that's a challenge, whether he's a scrambler or not. But I do think if you've had some background added, or if you're a defensive coach that's defended those guys, then you're going to be way more excited about that thought, because it's so hard of an element to deal with. And so I don't think it's not a bad thing. It's just different, and it just depends on what your background has led you to.
Are defensive coaches more apt to embrace a guy that's athletic?
I think so. I do think that. Yeah, I think because they really appreciate the difficulties and the complexities that come with it. So I would think so.
You mentioned rest a couple times in talking about Sean. For Wilson, what's kind of next?
Just keep growing. Just keep getting better. I've said this for a couple of years now that I think one of these years he's going to be a 70% completion guy, and that just means he's cleaning things up a little bit more and just being more efficient and more precise. And he's grown so much, and he's so much more aware than he was in earlier years. But this is the process that it takes. What year is it now for him? Is it 7 coming up? This is 6 or 7. It's just every one of these years there's another opportunity to grow. And he's been compared to the greatest quarterbacks that have ever played in our league, and we always look at them when they're in year 13 or 14 or 11 or something like that. He's not even there yet. He's halfway to that kind of a number. And so I think there's tremendous upside, and I know he thinks that too, and he's looking forward to getting better and finding his way to contribute in a bigger way and be a bigger factor. Yeah, he always will be, the quarterback will always be a focal point, in your development, and I'm really excited about Schottenheimer coming in, and Canales taking hold of that thing and challenging him like he's maybe like he's never been challenged before. That would be great.
How is Richard Sherman recovering?
I saw Richard last maybe it was this week, Monday or something, I think. So he's doing well. He just had his second surgery on the other side, which was a much more minor surgery and just some cleanup, but also with his Achilles. Very positive. He's had seemingly a great process up till now. It's a bit of a setback for a couple weeks now, because he's in the boot on the other leg. But he is not slowing down. He's working like crazy. He's having a fantastic offseason. His mentality is good. He's competing like crazy at it. John's doing all the talking right now. He's doing all the conversations about everybody. At this time of year, we're listening to everybody about everything as we do, and nothing specific.
How about Michael Bennett expressed some uncertainty about whether he might be back at the end of the season? Have you talked to him? Or?
I haven't talked to Mike in a while now, but it's just this time of year. Conversations going in all directions.
Coach, do you rely on analytics at all to evaluate the college players?
What was the word?
Analytics.
Sure. Yes.
Do you rely on that at all?
Well, our version of it, yeah. Our version of it. We're looking at everything we can possibly look at. We're taking all the information, and then we just try to weight it accordingly. And there's so much information. That's why this process takes such a long time to get to it. It comes right down to really a gut feeling of the guy you're picking when you get down to it. But everything is part of it. Yeah.
Anything new on Malik Carroll?
Nothing new. Same kind of thing that he's got a process he's going through. We get information rarely in his case, but there will be some time. We'll hear more. I don't have much for you at all now.
Well, Sheldon, people will look at one sack and maybe think that he didn't have as big of an impact. What kind of impact did he have?
He's a really good ball player. He's really instinctive. He's really tough. He's creative. Has a knack for getting around the ball. He caused a lot of good stuff that happened for us last year, where he didn't necessarily get the recorded sack and all, but forced turnovers, turned the ball over, got the ball himself. He's a good football player.
Plan to use the franchise tag?
All those choices are out there. Thank you. Thank you, guys.